Perspective, if we're asking, can you deliver results for people, show us exactly how you're going to do it and what you have done, right? I'm the only candidate who's actually put forth comprehensive plans about creating jobs and raising incomes. Other people tell you what they're against. I'm telling you what I'm for. I'm telling you what I'll do, and I'm asking you.
In 1987, first elected to office in 94 as a city council member, then mayor of Richmond. As I said, he went on to become lieutenant governor, and now serves in the United States Senate. He's a married man. He's married to the very accomplished Ann Holton, who serves as a Secretary of Education for the state of Virginia, and they have 3 adult children. Shall we please greet, ladies and gentlemen, with an Urban League welcome, Senator Tim Kaine.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far.
Good morning, Urban League, and good morning, Baltimore. What a treat, please. What a treat to be here. And Hillary's proposed a new and comprehensive commitment to equity and opportunity for African American communities. We've got a real plan. You can check out the details, HillaryClinton.com. We're not afraid to show the details. To create jobs with hundreds of billions of dollars in new investments in our cities, just like Baltimore and Richmond and the cities with, that the Urban League is in all over this country. Hillary and I are big fans of Congressman Jim Clyburn in South Carolina and his 10-20-30 plan. 10% of funding going to places where 20% of people have lived in poverty for 30 or more years. We have to focus our resources in the areas where they will do the most good and where there's the most need. We have to have a targeted approach to uproot persistent poverty in communities that have been left out, left behind. And that's urban, rural, Indian country, coal country, anywhere in between. The plan includes $20 billion aimed at specifically creating jobs for young people, because the unemployment rate, as you know, among young African Americans is twice as high as for young white folks. We've got to get all of our young people in a path to good paying jobs so they can develop their skills and dream big dreams for their futures. And we have to make sure that we're not only creating good jobs, but connecting black communities to where the good jobs are, which means being strategic about our investments in infrastructure and especially transportation and transit. And I want you to know that if Hillary and I win this November, you'll have not one but 2 people in the White House who understand the unique set of challenges facing America's cities, and we are committed to working together with you to solve them.
New York, we come from all different places. We are the laboratory of immigration, right? When you have political candidates talking about can immigration work, is immigration a good thing or a bad thing? We say immigration is a great thing. Come look at New York, right? I'm an immigrant. I come from people who came from Italy. We're all immigrants, unless you're Native American. And we made the greatest state on the nation. And we celebrate it because while we're all New Yorkers, we're all Americans, we also keep our identity from our original culture. And the blending of all those cultures makes New York, New York. Tabay worked with me in government. He was a Harvard-educated attorney, African-American, Jamaican parents. He could have worked anywhere and made 5 times as much money as he made working for government. He didn't come from money, he didn't have money, his family didn't have money, but he valued public service and he valued helping people over making money.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the great state of New York, the Secretary of Education for the United States of America, the Honorable John King Jr.
Thank you, Mark, for that warm introduction. I also want to thank the young people for their comments on the importance of college access. affordability, and completion at the heart of the President's agenda from the outset. Also want to appreciate the Urban League for the Urban League's leadership all over the country, championing civil rights, championing the cause of opportunity for all of our young people. We gather at a complicated moment for the country. We gather at a moment when the country must mourn the events of the last few weeks. We mourn what took place in Orlando. We mourn the death of Philando Castile. We mourn the death of Alton Sterling. We mourn the events that took place in Dallas and the loss of lives of police officers. We mourn the loss of life of police officers in Baton Rouge. And we mourn the daily loss of life and violence that takes place on too many of our streets and too many of our communities. At this moment, it's critically important that we have a thoughtful national conversation about the relationship between communities and police, about the legacy of institutional racism and slavery and the way that it shapes our society today, that we have a thoughtful conversation about gun laws and how we think about the role of guns in our society.
If our vision is an America with liberty, justice, and economic opportunity for all, we must vote. If we want to end this scourge of blacks killing blacks, we must vote. If we want to erase the AR-17 and the AK-47, the weapons of choice for terrorists and mass killings from our streets and neighborhoods, we must vote. If we want no fly, no buy, and universal background checks to try to interrupt this spate and endless flow of guns into our communities, we must vote. If we are to honor the martyrdom of Andrew Goodman, Mickey Schwerner, and James Chaney, whose tortured bodies were discovered exactly 53 years ago tomorrow, we must vote. If we want a compassionate system of immigration reform that leads to dignity and citizenship, we must vote. If we want black lives to matter, we must vote. If we want black lives to matter because every life matters, we must vote. If we are to change the heart of this nation, if we are to raise up a coalition of the compelled, the passionate, and the willing, we must vote.
They really need our support too, because they may be contemplating leaving and distancing themselves. The same thing with the superdelegates should distance themselves at this time.
Is this calling to encourage courage, and you all are doing that.
Because like so many other people, I'm really frustrated and outraged by the outcomes produced by this political process. People deserve a living wage, they deserve universal health care, and our society has the capacity to provide for basic human rights that are currently being denied by Democratic elites, Democratic and Republican elites that are funded by the 1% and represent the interests of white America.
I'm here to represent Bernie-crats, progressives, Jill Stein fans, and I'm here because my conscience forced me to be here.
People can no longer watch a few control the lives of so many of us. Our black communities have been underfunded for decades, and black communities are under siege and militarized by police terrorism, assault and murder. Public schools are underfunded and do not properly educate our children. The economic development means black displacement through gentrification, the prison privatization and the school-to-prison pipeline, the right to proper access and quality health care, food, shelter, and all the essential needs of life, including the protection of the LGBT community, as well as the releasing of all political prisoners. And as well as our rights and self-determination. And this can only come through the unification of our voices, the understanding, the intersectional connections, education, and support of one another during the democratic process. And again, I just want you to know that Philadelphia is a historically black city, as well as the birth of Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. And both of those documents have kept black and brown people subjugated in this country, who supported and upheld the enslavement of black and brown people. And these documents continue to function under the order of white supremacy and neoliberal reformist politics. And as black people, liberation cannot occur in a reformist society. It must be abolished, and it must be constructed by the people. White supremacy must be abolished. Black liberation and brown liberation must become a priority. My name is Erica Mines. Again, welcome to Philadelphia, the city that drops bombs on their people. My coalition is Philadelphia Coalition for Real Justice. Join us tomorrow. I have flyers. I look forward to us tearing down the establishment.